Post-midterm and post-spring break is go time. You're probably feeling super overwhelmed under the pressure that this is literally your last opportunity to do something about your study skills if you have any chance of passing the class. My name is Clarissa. I am a study skills strategist and the creator of She Rocks at College, and of course part-time because I am a nurse. I deliver babies. If you find yourself at the midpoint in this semester, teetering between the pass-fail line, you're not alone. In this video, I'm going to be helping Alesia create a plan to catch up in her physics course that she has fallen behind in. We're going to be helping her as well as you get back on track to raise her grade and make sure that she absolutely passes this class. I want you to go ahead and listen to Alesia's struggle in her physics class and see if there's anything about her story that you can relate to. Afterwards, we're going to dive right in step by step on what I would do if I was in her situation to change her grade.
Hi, my name is Alesia. I am an engineering student. I am 28 years old. I transferred from two different schools. So this is my third school here, and it's my second semester. This semester, I'm taking all engineering courses. I'm taking static, physics 2, thermodynamic, and an AutoCAD SolidWorks class. My parents are helping me out a lot. For me to be out here, it gets hard. Being away from my kids, I miss them a lot. Well, I do my best all the time, yet I feel like I fall short. For instance, the beginning of the semester, I had a really hard time in thermodynamic. I was basically getting like 30% on my quizzes and just doing really bad in homework. So I wanted to change that. So I gave it my all. I gave it all my time. And my grade improved in that class. I got a 90 or an 89% on my midterm. But as I was focusing in that class, I took time away from my other classes. And one of the classes that I fell behind is in physics. I'm not doing so good in there, and I want to improve that and learn ways to study and do homework so that I can improve my grade. I did bad on my first and my second exam, so I'm not really sure how to go about trying to catch up and trying to learn things to get a good grade for my exam 3. That's one of the things I need help with. I also want help with studying. Sometimes I don't even know where to start, how to start. I would appreciate some advice in that area.
So as you might have noticed via listening to Alesia describe her current struggles in her physics class, and we know that number one, she is struggling with trying to catch up and where to even start with that because she feels like she's so behind. She also wants to create an effective study routine that will help her bring her grade up, not only for this class, but also keep her GPA requirement at a certain level because she was awarded a scholarship where there is a GPA requirement. Now, Alesia in an email shared with me what her grade goal is for this class, and that's actually the first step in trying to get back on track. And she wants to finish this class with at least a C, which I think is super doable if she's willing to put in the work and put the plan in place that we're going to be talking about and creating for her in this video. So the first step to trying to get back on track is to figure out where you currently are. So you need to take a look at your syllabus and see what other assignments are coming up during the semester, what kind of grades you've gotten up until this point, and you also need to figure out what grades you need to get on those exams or assignments that you still have left in order to achieve the grade that you set out was your desired goal. Now for Alesia, again, in this physics class, she wants to end up with a C. So she shared with me her syllabus. She also shared with me the grades that she's currently gotten on her lab assignments, her homework assignments, as well as her quiz assignments that the professor has given her. And she shared with me that her next exam is actually going to be on April 4th. Now, in Alesia's class, the professor has broken up the overall grade into exam, final exam, lab assignments, homework assignments, and then these example word problems that she has to work through. Now, she only has one exam left before the final. And in order for her to get above a D in this class, the professor has explicitly said that you need to have a 60% average between your 3 exams plus the final. So this means, based off my calculations, that Alesia needs to get 100 out of 125 possible points on her 3rd exam of the semester. And she has to get 100 out of 150 points on her final. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of what she needs to get on her homework assignments, her lab, or those example problems that the professor gives her to do, but I'm just going to be focusing on the first exam that's coming up, which is that final 3rd exam before the actual final exam. So she needs to get 100 out of 125 points on that exam that's going to be held on April 4th. So great. Once you've figured out what kind of grades you've gotten up until this point, what assignments you have left, and you've figured out what kind of grades you need on those individual assignments or individual exams in order to achieve your desired grade goal at this point, and it has to be realistic, guys, at this point, the second step is to go ahead and start creating what I call a 4-week semester. What's going to be due for this class in the next month? What do we need to focus our attention on for the next 4 weeks to ensure that we get 100 out of 125 possible points on this next exam? The first thing that we have to do is evaluate what Alesia is currently doing to study for her exams, because her system that she's using right now isn't working out that great for her. She's not passing her exams. So we have to take a look at that first, because that's going to have the biggest impact on her grade. So the first thing that I say to students is we have to see if you have all 3 steps of the study protocol that I've created. So the 3 steps of the study protocol are: number 1, exposing yourself to the information that you're going to be expected to know in order to be considered proficient at the end of this class. So the class was designed for a purpose. You're there to learn a particular subject matter. So you have to be exposed to that subject matter, either by going to lecture or watching video lectures if you're in an online course, or doing the assigned readings or attending different seminars if that's what the class entails. That is the method of exposure to the information that at the end of this class you should have mastered. Now, the exposing part is the professor's responsibility. They're going to be responsible for assigning the reading, but it's your responsibility to do the readings, and it's your responsibility to show up so that you can be exposed to that information. And you also want to simplify that information in a way that makes sense to you, keeping in mind the purpose and theme of the class. The second step of the study protocol is to check to see if you actually know, understand, and can apply the information that your professor has been exposing you up until this exam. The reason why this is so important is because that's actually the whole purpose of studying. The whole purpose of studying is to figure out whether or not you've actually grasped this information before you get to the exam. The third step of the study protocol is filling in the knowledge gaps. As you're checking to see whether or not you've actually understood and can apply the information that you've been exposed to, you're going to realize that there are some things, some topic areas, some subject matters that are like, you kind of know it, you kind of don't. If someone were to tell you, you can say, yeah, I remember that. But if I were to ask you, you couldn't explain it to me in a simple manner, or you couldn't answer a question about it because it wasn't solid. And the third step of the study protocol is your opportunity to fix that. It's your opportunity to fix all the learning gaps so that when you get to the exam, there isn't any murky areas. You're solid on all the material that you are going to be required to know and show that you're proficient at on the exam. Now, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself which one of the 3 steps of the study protocol you're missing, if you are missing any, or which part of the 3 steps in the study protocol you need to improve upon because right now you're not doing a great job at it. Now, Alesia shared with me what she's currently doing to prepare and study for her exams in this physics class. So she says that she's absolutely going to lecture and that she's taking notes in lecture. She's not really using the textbook. And to prepare for the exam, what she's doing is she's reviewing the notes that she's created for herself based off of lecture. And she's also reviewing the sample problems that she sees on the homework assignments. She's reviewing the sample problems that she sees on her quizzes. And that's really her method of studying. Now, if we were to compare this to the 3-step study protocol, where I see that she's kind of missing the mark is that she's only focusing her attention on exposing herself to the information that she's going to be tested on. She's also not taking the opportunity to fill in the knowledge gaps, and that's because she's not testing herself. So she doesn't really know what she doesn't know. And that's a big warning sign because if you don't know what you don't know, you can't fix it. The second thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to the study protocol is you want to figure out which learning activity will have the biggest impact on helping you to improve that area that's missing out of the study protocol or that area that you need to improve upon, and you need to be able to measure it because what gets measured and what gets tracked grows because your attention is focused on it and you're actually deliberately and intentionally trying to change that. So in the case of Alesia, what I want to start doing with her is I actually want to start incorporating those checkpoints. I actually want her to start testing whether or not the information she's exposing herself to, she's actually understood it, she knows it, and she can apply it. Now, the nice thing about this is that Alesia's professor is actually doing this for her, but I don't think that she's in the mindset to realize that. And here is where her professor is doing it for her. He's doing the quizzing for her in the homework assignments that are due every class. He's doing it for her in the quizzes that he's giving her both in lab as well as online that she has to take. All of these points, the homework assignments and the quizzes, are actually checkpoints to see if you're learning what you're supposed to learn, if you're understanding what you're supposed to understand, and if you're able to apply the information that you're supposed to know. A lot of the times we see these homework assignments and these quizzes as just busy work that we have to get done, but when we switch our mindset to realizing that those are checkpoints for ourselves, to see whether or not we're understanding this material, it gives us the opportunity to seek out extra help via a tutor or the professor or an online resource to fix it so that on the exam we're 100% prepared. So my suggestion to Alesia is going to be to start changing her mindset when she approaches the homework assignments and when she approaches the quizzes. This is your opportunity to check whether or not you're getting what you're supposed to get. And then once she starts changing her mindset around the quizzes and the homework assignments in that manner, she's going to have the opportunity to fill in the knowledge gaps. Now, Alesia unfortunately said that her professor's office hours are actually during her other class. So a lot of students would use this as an excuse. Well, I can't talk to my professor because I can't access him in office hours because I'm busy during that time. Or a lot of students will also use the excuse that their professors are really standoffish. My solution to this is if your professor has office hours during times that you can't attend, just ask them if there is a way that you can schedule a time for you to chat with them once a week or, this particular week on this day at this time. Most of the time they will be accommodating. So my suggestion to Alesia is to first reach out to her professor and to ask them if they would be willing to meet at a scheduled date and time outside of the office hours because her situation is that she has class during that time, I guarantee that her professor will say, absolutely, let's schedule a date and time. This is actually one of the ways that I want her to start filling in the knowledge gaps. As she's working through her homework assignments, as she's working through her quizzes, she's going to be aware of where she's kind of running into trouble. And I want her to make note of that. Where in the problems are you getting stuck and why? Write out to yourself, I know that at this point I have to do this, but after that I don't know what to do. This is going to be really helpful because now you have specifics when you go and talk to the professor. Instead of just going to them and saying, I don't understand this, you can specifically say to them, I get this, this, and this, but at this point is where I get stuck and I need some help thinking through that. Your professors are going to be able to give you more specific solutions when you show up to them with specific problems. In the event that Alesia's professor is not available to speak with, then her second option is to schedule some tutoring sessions which are available to her based off of my conversation with her. So the second option would be tutoring. If tutoring is not an option, then the third option is to try to find an online source such as khanacademy.org or WTFprofessor.com or another resource, YouTube, that might be talking about the topic in physics that she needs to understand. Sometimes we need to visually see the information or hear someone else explain it in a different way than the textbook or than our professors to actually get it. In Alesia's case, she said that she actually needs someone to walk through the problems with her, and her professor doesn't really write on the board, and that usually helps her. So she's going to want to look for something that actually walks her through the problems because that helps her understand the concepts and how to work through these physics problems. So after we have determined what's missing out of the 3-step study protocol, and we've created a new study plan for her based off of what was missing, this is what I have come up with. So what Alesia is going to be doing is she's going to continue to go to lecture and she's going to continue to write the notes. But when she goes home, what she's going to want to do is she's going to want to approach the homework assignments and the quizzes as a checkpoint to see if what was covered in lecture that day she actually understood, learned, and can apply. If she doesn't, she wants to, within 2 to 3 days, get some help on that content so that she doesn't fall behind. So she's going to get help either from the professor, if not from the tutoring center, if not from an online resource to fill in the knowledge gaps. So she's hitting all 3 points of the study protocol every single week. Then the third step of this is to actually apply the plan consistently, weekly and daily. What this means is that you're going to have to take a look at your schedule. And if you don't know how to create a schedule, I actually have a video that you can watch on how to find time to study. Go and look at it to figure out how to create your study schedule. Alesia is going to want to track how her grades on her quizzes improve. She's going to want to track how her grades on her homework assignments improve. She's going to want to keep track of what's working and what's not in this study plan that we're creating. So consistently, she's going to want to show up to lecture. She's going to want to, after lecture, either immediately after or a couple of hours after, or even the day after, try to do those homework assignments and quizzes with the mentality that these are her checkpoints to see if she's learned the information from lecture that day or the day before. When she runs into trouble, what she's going to want to do, again, is to make note of it. Where are you running into issues? Those are questions that you are going to want to search for either online or that you're going to want to search for and talk to your professor about, or that you're going to want to try to find in the book, or that you're going to want to talk to your tutor so that you can fill in those knowledge gaps, because those questions are going to come up again on your actual exam. And the more you can prepare yourself on how to solve those problems before you're actually graded on them, the better you're going to do on the exam. Your goal is to try to get between a 70 to 100% of the material learned, understood, and be able to apply it during your study process, because if you're getting 70 to 100% of the questions correct or 70 to 100% of the information mastered, then you're probably going to get 70 to 100% on your exams, which is what we want on this next exam for Alesia if she wants to end the class with a C. So Alesia, you're going to want to plug in to your daily schedule when you're going to be doing your homework assignments and quizzes, when you're possibly going to be setting up your tutoring sessions or your times to look up supplemental videos on Khan Academy, WTF Professor, or YouTube, or when you're going to be meeting with your professors to fill in the knowledge gaps. Do you have to seek out other sources? No, but I think it's the easiest way to fill in the knowledge gaps. But you can absolutely try to reread the book or reread your notes. But I think the best thing, especially for technical courses such as physics, is going to be to seek out that help. And really it comes down to making sure that you have all of those 3 steps from the study protocol. Exposing yourself to the information and writing your notes in a way that you've simplified it so that you understand it. Step 2, check yourself. That means quiz yourself. And then step 3 is to fill in the knowledge gaps that you discovered when you were checking yourself. Filling in the knowledge gaps and quizzing yourself is going to have the biggest impact, because this is where you get the opportunity to make sure that you know what you're supposed to know before the exam. Alesia, you're going to want to focus exam to exam for the ones that you have left during the semester. I know that in physics, a lot of the information builds upon the other. This is why it's so important that you're quizzing to see what it is that you actually know, and that at this point in the semester, you seek out help. If you don't seek out help, if you don't find those knowledge gaps and try to fix them, that C is not going to be possible. And I'm just being realistic with you. So if you want to make sure that you get that C at the end of the semester, follow these steps, take action, be consistent with it, and follow up with me, because I would love to know how it's going for you. And of course, I'm going to be sending you an email. If you've been watching this video and you want to be featured in the next one, then what you're going to want to do is join the Secret Study Society. It's a private Facebook group where I've gathered a bunch of brilliant college girls that are working towards achieving their academic goals. In this private Facebook group, I'm going to be doing live Facebook streams, doing one-on-one coaching, answering all of your college-related questions, and helping to mentor you so that you can achieve the college and life success that you're after. If you submit a video with your question, your situation, and you give me all the information that I need, I will absolutely create a video around that content at some point during the year. Again, all you have to do is join the Secret Study Society private Facebook group. The link will be in the description box. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.